Yes, teacher.
Okay, hello, good morning. Um, Đặng Trần Hồng Phúc, Đặng Trần Hồng Phúc, are you there? Đào Trúc Minh Tú.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, hello. Okay, so we can start now because everyone can hear me. So we start. Okay, so today we continue with chapter 10, the respiratory system. So these PowerPoint slides are created by Ms. Hang, okay, and they are adapted by me. And today I'm the presenter of this lesson. Okay, so let's talk about the respiratory system. Correct the spelling. Okay, so we start. With the respiratory system. Okay, so the respiratory system, okay, includes the lungs. And as you know, that we have the left lung and the right lungs, right? Two lungs. It also includes the tubes that connects the lungs to the nose and the mouth. Next one, okay, those tubes includes pharynx. Okay, so remember pharynx or the throat, okay? Larynx or the voice box. Trachea, okay? Trachea, or we have another name for trachea, the windpipe. Trachea will carry the air, right? Air will be sent through the trachea. And then we have bronchi, okay, and you will know, okay, what does bronchi mean later. Next one, we have bronchioles. Okay, so in the right order, we have pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, and bronchioles, okay? And you can have a look at these pictures. So air will travel through the nasal cavity, through your nose, okay? And air will travel to the pharynx, to the back of your throat. They will travel down to larynx. Okay, air will travel down to larynx, the voice box. Okay, and then it travels down to the trachea. And from the trachea, where air will continue to travel to the bronchi and bronchioles before it enters the lungs, right? Okay, so let's talk about the function of the respiratory system. The respiratory system will bring oxygen into your body, right? Oxygen is necessary for cellular respiration. The respiratory system also helps rid the body of gas waste such as carbon dioxide, CO2, right? Okay, so
Thầy ơi, thầy bị tắt mic rồi.
okay, can you hear me now?
Dạ được rồi thầy.
Okay, please do not mute me. Okay. Three-man function here. Now we continue. Let's talk about the anatomy of the respiratory system. As you can see in these pictures, we have upper respiratory tract and lower respiratory tract. The upper respiratory tract includes nasal cavity, your nose, right? Pharynx, throat, larynx, voice box, right? And the lower respiratory tract includes trachea, primary bronchi, and the lungs, okay? And we will go through each part here. Upper respiratory tract and lower respiratory tract. I want you to have a look at these pictures and try to remember these parts, okay, in the right order. Nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, and lungs, right? They should be in the right order. Okay, first let's talk about the upper respiratory tract. So the upper respiratory tract will begins in the nasal cavity. Okay, begins from your nose. Air is warm in the nasal cavity. Inside your nasal cavity, air will be warm. Okay. Small particles such as dust, bacteria, and viruses are captured by nose hair, right? When you breathe in, okay, the hair comes from outside to your nose. Inside your nose, there are nose hairs which help, okay, capture the small particles such as dust, bacteria, and viruses. Okay, so the nose hair will prevent small particles from entering the body. It helps prevent diseases. People usually breathe through noses, but sometimes they breathe through the mouth, right? Okay, let's talk about the passage of air. How air travels, okay, from outside to inside your body. Okay, so first ones, air will enter the nose, okay? And then air will pass through the pharynx or the throat, okay? Remember, pharynx is another word, okay, the medical term for throat. From the throat, air will continue, okay, to reach the bottom of the pharynx. And when air reaches the bottom of the pharynx, it will travel into esophagus, right? You still remember it in the digestive tract, okay? The lesson about digestive tract. We talk about esophagus. At the ends of the pharynx, there will be two tubes. The first tube is esophagus, right? And what does the esophagus carry? Esophagus carries food, right? So air can either travel into the esophagus to the stomach. And when there's air inside your stomach, it's not, it will cause you hiccup. And the second possible way that air can travel is the larynx. Air can travel into the larynx or through your voice box, okay, and down to your trachea and straight to your lungs, right? So please remember that, okay, it's not good when air, okay, enters your stomach, right? Because you will have hiccup. Okay, what you want is the air can travel into your larynx through your voice box, through your trachea, to the bronchi, and down to the lungs, right? So you have to remember that two tubes here, okay, the esophagus will carry food, while the trachea will carry lungs, right? Okay, food will travel down to the esophagus and to stomach. So the esophagus will lead to the stomach, while the trachea, okay, will carry air to the lungs. We continue with the passage of air. Okay, so larynx or the voice box. Okay, so inside the voice box, inside the larynx, there are vocal cords. So what are vocal cords? Vocal cords are attached to the side of the larynx. You can have a look at this picture, right? So there are vocal cords which are attached to the sides of your larynx or your voice box. When air passes across the vocal cords, air will make the vocal cords vibrate, right? And when your vocal cords vibrate, voice will be produced. Okay, so it's quite simple to understand, right? Okay, I say again, vocal cords, okay, are attached to the sides of the larynx. So inside your voice box, there are vocal cords. And when air passes across the vocal cords, air will make the vocal cords vibrate, right? And when your vocal cords vibrate, this is when your voice is produced. Okay, so after air passes through the larynx, okay, what does it go? So air passes through the larynx, and then air enters the trachea or the windpipe, right? Okay. Then, okay, so let's talk about the trachea first before we continue with the passage of air. Trachea. Trachea is a fairly rigid tube. Okay, it's quite hard. A fairly rigid tube, which helps send the air from the larynx to the lungs, right? Trachea is supported by rings of cartilage. Still remember cartilage? These rings of cartilage will surround the trachea and help keeps it open, right? And holds the trachea shape. Cartilage is like bone, but is more flexible, okay? I'll let you have some minutes to remember these things. I say again, after going through the larynx, air will enter the trachea or the windpipe. Okay, the trachea is a fairly rigid tube which helps send the air from the larynx to your lungs. Trachea is supported by rings of cartilage. And what is the function of these rings of cartilage? They will surround the trachea, okay, and they will help the trachea open, okay, and these rings of cartilage also hold the cartilage, holds the trachea shape, right? Hold its shape. Cartilage is like bones, but is more flexible. Okay, so we continue. Next parts. Okay, so can you have a look at this picture? You can see, okay, so surrounding the tracheal, okay, surrounding the trachea is tracheal cartilage, okay. These are rings, okay, that are round in shape. So rings of cartilage will surround the trachea, okay, to keep it open and to hold its shape. Okay, so now we will continue with the passage of air. Okay, from the trachea, where does it go? Someone please unmute yourself. Okay. Okay, so from the trachea, air will pass down, okay, the trachea to the lungs, right? The trachea will lead to the lungs. From the trachea, air enters two branches. Remember, from the trachea, okay, the trachea will branch into two different, okay, branches. Air enters two branches. One branch, okay, is to the right lung, is in the right lung, okay. One branch will lead to the right lung, while the other branch will lead to the left lung. So these two branches are called primary bronchi, okay. So I say again, from the trachea there will be two branches. One branch will lead to the left lung and one branch will lead to the right lung. And those two branches are called primary bronchi. Okay, bronchi is the plural form of bronchus. So we have one bronchus, two bronchi, right? So there are two primary bronchi. Next, primary bronchi enter the lungs, right? And when primary bronchi enter the lungs, they branch into secondary bronchi. Actually, we have they branch, no singular form here. Okay, I say again. Okay, so primary bronchi enter the lungs and they branch into secondary bronchi. Spelling mistake. Okay, primary bronchi will branch into secondary bronchi. Okay, so they will continue to branch into smaller branches, right? Each secondary bronchus enters one of the loops. Enter one of the loops. Okay, the lobes. Three lobes. So there are three lobes in the right and two lobes in the left lung. So in total, we have 5 secondary bronchi. One of the lobes. Okay, so I say again, each secondary bronchus. By the way, bronchus is the singular form of bronchi. Okay, bronchi, two bronchi, one bronchus. Each secondary bronchus will enter one of the lobes. Okay, there are 3 lobes in the right lung and 2 lobes in the left lung. So in total, we have 5 secondary bronchi. In the lobes, secondary bronchi will continue to branch into smaller branches, okay? And those smaller branches are called tertiary bronchi. Tertiary bronchi. And then what happened next? Tertiary bronchi will continue to branch into smaller tubes, and those smaller tubes are called bronchioles. Okay, bronchioles are small but very important because they help regulate amount of air that enters the lungs, right? Bronchioles have a thin layer of smooth muscle, okay, and that thin layer of smooth muscle, okay, will constrict or dilate. Another spelling mistake. Or dilates. Okay. Okay, we start from here. Okay, so I say again, The thin layer of smooth muscle inside, okay, your lung will constrict, constricts will get smaller, right? Gets narrower. We have the verb constrict, okay, becomes decrease in size, right? Or dilates. Dilates means gets bigger or gets wider, right? So the thin layer of smooth muscle will either constrict or dilate, okay? Finally, from the bronchioles, air enters clusters of alveoli. Okay, so alveoli is, like the plural form of alveolus. So what are alveoli? Alveoli are tiny bubbles which cluster around a single bronchiole. Okay, just like grapes. Okay, cluster around a stem. Alveoli, okay, are where blood drops CO2, carbon dioxide, and pick up oxygen, right? I will show you the pictures of alveoli. Before I show you the pictures, let's go through, okay, the passes of air one more time. Okay, so air passes down trachea to the lungs. Air enters two branches, one to the right and one to the left, right? Trachea will branch, okay, into two smaller branches, and those branches are called primary branches. So one primary bronchi, okay, will lead to the left lung, and the other primary bronchi will lead to the right lung, right? Bronchi. Primary bronchi will enter the lungs, and they will branch into secondary bronchi, smaller branches, right? Okay. Primary bronchi will branch into smaller branches called secondary bronchi. Each secondary bronchus enters one of the lobes. There are 3 lobes in the right lung and 2 lobes in the left lung. And then in the lobes, secondary bronchi continue to branch into smaller branches, and those smaller branches are called tertiary bronchi. And in the next step, tertiary bronchi will continue to branch into smaller tubes, right? And those smaller tubes are called bronchioles. Bronchioles are small tubes, but they are very important because they help regulate, they help control the amount of air which is sent to your lung, which can enter your lungs. Bronchioles have a thin layer of smooth muscle, and that smooth muscle will constrict, will get smaller, will get narrower, or dilate, will get bigger, will get wider, okay? Okay, just continue. Someone is recording, right? Okay, so we continue with this slide. Okay, so finally, from the bronchioles, air enters clusters of alveoli. Okay, so we have 1 alveolus and 2 or 3 alveoli. Alveoli is the plural form of alveolus. Alveoli are tiny bubbles which cluster around a single bronchiole, like grapes. Okay, grapes cluster around a stem. Alveoli is where blood drops CO2 and pick up O2 or oxygen. Do you see the PowerPoint slide, right? Okay. Now we continue with the passage of air. Air enters the lungs, right? So air will be sent down to the trachea and then down to primary bronchi. So there is one trachea but two primary bronchi. These two primary bronchi will branch into smaller branches, okay? And those smaller branches are called secondary bronchi. 5 secondary bronchi, right? 3 in the right lung and 2 in the left lungs. And those 5 secondary bronchi will continue to branch into smaller branches, right? And those smaller branches are called tertiary bronchi. And as you know that there are many tertiary bronchi inside your lungs. Now please have a look at these pictures, right? So this is the lower respiratory tract. Trachea, air will be sent downward to the trachea. The trachea will branch into 2 smaller primary bronchi. One bronchus will lead to the right lung, okay, and one bronchus will lead to the left lung. There are 3 lobes, okay, in the right lung and 2 lobes in the left lung. And then those lobes will continue to branch into smaller branches, right? And those smaller branches are called secondary bronchi. Inside the lungs, secondary bronchi will continue to branch into smaller branches, okay, and they are called tertiary bronchi, smaller branches. And continue, okay, tertiary bronchi will continue to branch into bronchioles. Bronchioles are very small branches, but they are very important, okay, because they will help control the amount of air, okay, which is sent inside your lungs. We continue having a look at these pictures. Larynx, okay, trachea. These are primary bronchi. 2, you see, the number is 2, primary bronchi. Secondary bronchi. So we have 5 secondary bronchis. Okay, 3, okay, which leads to the right lung and 3 leads to the left lung. And then secondary bronchi will branch into tertiary bronchi. And as you know that we have we have tertiary bronchi, and then tertiary bronchi will continue to branch into the smaller branches, and smallest branches are called bronchioles. And there are millions, okay, thousands, millions of bronchioles in the lungs. At the ends of each bronchiole, okay, is the alveoli, right? Okay, so there will be 1 alveolus at the ends of each bronchiole, okay? And these alveoli are like grapes, grapes, okay, grapes, which cluster around the stem. So these alveoli, okay, are small bubbles which cluster around the bronchioles, right? And as you know that there are like capillaries. Capillaries, okay, will cover each of these alveoli, right? Okay, I said again, the alveolus, each, okay, alveolus will be covered by capillaries, okay? Okay, alveoli is where the gas exchange occurs. Okay, so your blood, okay, will picks up oxygens, okay, and releases CO2. Okay, so alveoli is where the gas oxygen occurs inside your lung. Air enters the lungs down to trachea, down to primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi, bronchioles, 1,000, and last one, air will reach, okay, millions of alveoli. So this is the order, okay, of the air passage that you have to remember. Okay, class, so before we continue, I will show you a video clip, okay? Please tell me whether you can see the video clip or not, okay? Let me stop share and I continue sharing with you later. Can you just wait? Okay, can you see this video clip, everyone? Đào Trúc Minh Tú.
Yes, teacher.
Can you hear?
Yes.
Can you hear the sound from the video clip? I'm checking.
To understand the process of
Can you hear the sound?
Yes.
Right, okay. So thank you, class, please, okay. I have a video clip to show you, okay. This video clip will help you understand better, okay. Understand the respiratory system better. So let's take a look at this video clip, okay. After watching this video clip, I will have some questions to ask you. Okay, so I will use subtitle for those who can listen. Okay, we start again. Someone, can you please unmute yourself? Yes. Yeah. Remember, when you get to the class, always mute yourself. Có bạn nào vẫn chưa mute, thầy vẫn nghe được tiếng ồn. Mình vào lớp làm ơn mình tắt tiếng giùm thầy. Please mute yourself when you get to the class. Các bạn tắt tiếng, các bạn chứ không phải tắt tiếng thầy. Mới thấy bạn nào tắt tiếng thầy nữa, tắt tiếng mình vào lớp mình tự tắt tiếng nha. Ok.
Cái học của đó tao tải mấy bị cơm nữa.
Thầy chờ nha, thầy chờ khi nào tắt tiếng mình bắt đầu nha. Có bạn nào đó thầy cũng không biết nữa. Tắt tiếng chưa nào? Ok. Now we watch this video clip. You see, the right lungs, okay, includes 3 lobes, right superior, right middle, and right inferior. 3 lobes are in the right lung. Right, okay. The left lungs is a little bit smaller than the right lung, so it includes 2 lobes. Okay, can you see? So these are rounds of cartilage, right? Rings of cartilage. Okay, they are round in shape. Rings of cartilage will cover the trachea. Okay, to help hold its shape. Okay, um, to hold its shape. Okay. Right downward through the pharynx, enter the trachea, the bronchi, same pronunciation. Okay, bronchi. Right. Okay, and then the primary bronchi will branch, okay, into smaller branches. Okay, from each bronchus, oxygen travels into the lungs. Okay, and those smaller branches are called secondary bronchi. Right.
Thầy ơi, cái video đó có tiếng không thầy?
Các em có nghe tiếng không?
Không thầy ơi.
Cái video có tiếng nha. Ủa, nó không có tiếng hả? Các bạn biết cách nào để share sao không? Nó có tiếng mà thầy chỉ share được video à? Thôi bây giờ nó không có tiếng, bây giờ thầy sẽ lồng tiếng, thầy đọc các bạn cái subtitle ha. Nó cũng dễ hiểu thôi. Ok, so we watch again. Chứ thầy chờ mà tìm share sao hết giờ của thầy. Ok, now we watch again. Ok, the respiratory system. So this is the process of breathing. Okay, so this is thoracic cavity. You know, okay, the diaphragm. Okay, so the diaphragm, okay, you know, like separates, okay, the thoracic cavity and abdominal cavity, right? Okay, so now we talk about the lungs, right? As you know that there are two lungs, right lung and left lung, okay? So the right lung is divided into three lobes. There are three lobes, okay, in the right lung. Okay, we have right superior, right middle lobe, and right inferior lobe. Right, the left lung is smaller than the right lung and is divided into two lobes only. Okay, superior lobe and inferior lobe. The left superior and the left inferior lobe. Right, so as you can see, the trachea, okay, and the trachea, okay, will branch into two smaller branches. They are called bronchi. Okay? Bronchi will, okay, lead the air, okay, to the lung, right? We have two primary bronchi. Right? So this is the ring of cartilage. They are C shape, okay, or they are round in shape. And these rings of cartilage will help hold the shape of the trachea. Okay, so they help prevent the tracheal wall from collapsing, right? Okay, so as again, the rings of cartilage will help hold the shape of the trachea and prevent it from collapsing. Okay, so here, this is the nostril. When you breathe in air, right? Air will enter your nostril first, right? And then air will travel downward through the pharynx, through your throat, right? And down through the trachea, right? Air finally breach the bronchi. There are two primary bronchi, okay? And these two primary bronchi will lead air to the lungs, right? And then two primary bronchi will branch into smaller branches called secondary bronchi, right? Now, from each bronchus, oxygen travels into the lungs, right? Okay, and then secondary bronchi will continue to branch into smaller branches called tertiary bronchi, and then tertiary bronchi continue to branch into bronchioles. Now take a look at bronchioles, very small branches, right? Bronchi, right? Okay, each bronchiole, okay, at the end of each bronchiole is the alveoli, right? This is alveolus, okay, one alveolus, okay. So there are millions, okay, or thousands of alveoli inside the lungs, and this is where gas exchange occurs, right? Each alveolus, okay, is surrounded by a network of capillaries, right? Okay, so you can see alveolar chamber. Okay, so just to remember that, okay, blood, the oxygenated blood or poorly oxygenated blood, okay, will be carried through the capillaries, okay. They are blue. This is like, this blood is blue because it lacks okay, oxygen, so I call it the oxygenated blood. Okay, and then when you breathe in oxygen, right, so oxygen, okay, will enters the lung, and then the gas exchange, okay, procedure happens, right? Okay, oxygen will be absorbed, okay, through capillaries, and now the blood becomes oxygenated blood, right? Okay, we breathing oxygen, and oxygen, okay, will enter through the capillaries, okay, and oxygen will be attached to hemoglobins, okay, and your blood will turn into oxygenated blood. Right, okay, CO2, okay, will be breathed out through the nostril, okay. So CO2, you know, like just like travel backwards, okay, and they will be exhaled, okay, out of the body. We breathing oxygen, but we breathe out carbon dioxide, right? And you know, like where does the oxygenated blood goes? Still remember last lesson, okay? The last one we talk about that. So the oxygenated blood will return to the heart. right? Okay, and then the heart will pump that blood to every organs of the body. Okay. Inhalation. Okay, they are talking about the gas exchange process. Okay, and we will talk about this process, like in greater details in the next lesson. Okay, but just keep watching. Respiration, right? So respiration will include inhalation and exhalation. We breathe in oxygen, but we breathe out carbon dioxide. Diaphragm. Okay, so now you can see you watch again, okay, and I just let you watch, okay. This is just like a summary of the video clip. Right lung, left lung, two. We breathe in oxygen, breathing one alveoli after we recover alveoli. Okay, so again, inside the alveoli, okay, this is where the gas exchange happens, right? So inside the alveoli, oxygen will be absorbed, okay, and carbon dioxide will be released, right? And we breathing oxygen, and where does carbon dioxide goes? CO2 will be released and expelled out of the body. Okay, so CO2 just travels the way, okay, backwards, okay, and we breathe out. And CO2 is expelled, or we breathe out CO2, okay, out of our body. Okay, so I end the video clip here, okay. So if you want to watch this video clip, you can go to YouTube, okay, and type this title, okay. Video clip will help you understand the lesson better, okay. So you can find, like many useful video clips on YouTube, okay, and learn. Okay, so now we get back to the slide, and I will ask you some questions, okay? So when I call your name, please unmute yourself and communicate with me. Okay, so we get back to the PowerPoint slide. Can you name these organs? Okay, I will give each of you, let's say, 3 minutes to remember these organs again. So these are important organs of the respiratory system. Okay, can you name them? Okay, 4 minutes for you, and I will call someone to help me. Okay, label these parts, these organs. Okay, so going to call some of you. Please unmute yourself. Okay, Bùi Hữu Nghĩa, please.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so can you see number one? So what is number one? Can you name the first organ of the respiratory system?
Number one is nasal cavity.
Yes, number one is the nasal cavity. Okay, or this is your nose. Okay, the nasal cavity. Very good. Nghĩa, number two. How about number two?
Number two is oral cavity.
Yes, nasal cavity, oral cavity. Next one, number three. This is your throat.
Pharynx.
Pharynx, very good, pharynx. Or what's the other name for pharynx? Throat, right? Throat, pharynx, right? Number four, Nghĩa, number four. Easy.
Lung. Two lungs.
Lungs, yes, two lungs. Right lung and left lung. Good. Number five.
Trachea.
Yes, number five is trachea. Okay, there is only one trachea. Number six.
Primary bronchi.
Yes, primary bronchi. Okay, we say bronchi or bronchi, right? So primary bronchi, there are two primary bronchi. Thank you, Nghĩa. Very good. Good job. Excellent job. Okay, so this is the answers. Okay, you take a look at this picture. See? 1 minute for you to check your answers. Nghĩa has given me a very good answers. Okay, he remembers all the organs very well. It's quite easy, so we just move on. I have the next question for you. Can you number these locations in the right order that air coming into the body moves? Okay, so we have different organs here. So can you, okay, put them in the right order? So where does air go, okay, when it enters, okay, through the throat? Okay. So which one should be the first organs? Okay, where air travels through. So you have about 3 minutes, okay, to number these organs. Put them in the right order. So first one, we have larynx or pharynx, right? Nasal or oral cavity. This should be the first one. Air, okay, will enter the nasal or oral cavity. So you write number one, nasal, oral cavity. And what's next? Okay, number two. So after answering the nasal oral cavity, where does air go? You continue, okay? I give you 4 minutes to put these organs in the right order, okay? To make the right path for air to travel through. Okay, Bùi Thế Kiệt, are you there? Can you unmute yourself? Bùi Thế Kiệt, not there. Đặng Trần Hồng Phúc, can you hear me? Can you unmute yourself?
Hello, teacher.
Okay, first, I wish you, okay, like a happy day, okay, on the occasion of International Women's Day, okay? Happy International Women's Day.
Thank you.
Yes, okay, so can you tell me the right order of these organs? So where does air go? First one, where's the first?
First is nasal or oral cavity.
Yes, air enters nasal or oral cavity. Next.
Next is pharynx.
Pharynx, right.
Pharynx.
Good. Number 2,
Yes.
pharynx.
3 is larynx.
Larynx, good.
4 is primary bronchi.
No. Before the primary bronchi. So we have larynx. After larynx.
Okay. Trachea.
Yes. Trachea, number 5. Next, 6.
Next is primary bronchi.
Yes, primary bronchi. There are 2 primary bronchi, right? What's next?
The next is secondary bronchi.
Yes, and
next is tertiary bronchi.
Tertiary bronchi, yes, smaller branches. Yes, thank you. And continue. Oh no, that's the last one.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's the alveoli.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alveoli. How can you pronounce that word? Alveoli. Okay. Actually, tertiary bronchi will continue to branch into bronchioles, right? Bronchioles and then bronchioles. Okay. At the ends of each bronchiole is the alveolus, right? So alveoli, okay, or alveolus is the last part. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now, this is the right, okay, order. You can check. I said again after number 7, okay, something lacks here, something lacking here. So for example, like after, the tertiary bronchi, okay, after airs, okay, enters the tertiary bronchi, actually these bronchi, okay, so these bronchi will continue to branch into smaller bronchioles, right? And at the ends of the bronchioles is the alveolus. Alveolus is where the gas exchange happens, right? Because there are many capillaries, okay, networks of capillaries around alveoli, okay. Capillaries, capillaries will carry the oxygenated bloods, right? And this is where the gas exchange happens. The oxygenated blood will become oxygenated, okay? And oxygenated blood will return to the heart before it is pumped into other organs of the body. And CO2, so where does CO2 go? CO2 will be released, okay? They will travel backwards, okay, to the windpipe and then release out of your body, right? When we breathe down, CO2 will be released. Okay, so in the next part of our lesson, we're going to have a reading practice. Okay, reading practice. Okay, so first we're going to read the text about breathing. Breathing, okay, not reading, breathing. Okay, so there are 3 paragraphs in this passage about breathing. So you still remember the first step when you receive a text, you have to skim the text for 3 minutes. When you skim, you read very quickly the first and the last sentences of each paragraph. Okay, to find out the main meaning of the paragraph, right? Now I will give each of you 3 minutes. Can you please skim read? You read very fast. The whole passage for me, okay? What is Okay, so the passage is about breathing. How we breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide, right? Read the first and the last sentence of each paragraph. And if you can, please figure out the main ideas or the general idea of each paragraph. Okay, so to continue, I think I will ask somebody, okay, to help me read, okay, the paragraph, read each paragraph, okay. Let me have a look at the student list. Now, Trúc Minh Tú, are you there? Can you unmute yourself and communicate?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, hello, Minh Tú. Okay, wish you have a good day. That is, okay, so please help me with the first paragraph. When A is taken into scope.
Excuse me.
Okay, so can you help me read the first paragraph?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
When air is taken into the lungs, it is called inspiration. Another word for inspiration is inhalation.
Inhalation.
Inhalation. Sorry, I can't see the
You
next
can.
one.
Next
Yes.
one, inspiration is controlled by the brain. Can you see it?
Yes. The brain sends nerve
No,
impulse that
no, impulse.
stimulate impulse that stimulate the diaphragm, the large muscle that separate the
Abdominal.
abdominal cavity from the thoracic chest cavity to contract. At the same time, the diaphragm is stimulated. Other nerve impulse also stimulate the intercostal muscle, the muscle between the ribs to contract, and the rib cage goes up and out. Both of these muscle contraction cause the thoracic cavity to expand because the lungs are attached to the wall of the thoracic cavity and move with it. The lungs also expand.
Okay, thank you. Can you please see those words again? This is we say muscles, not muscle. Okay, muscles, intercostal muscles, right?
Yes.
Yes, muscle. Remember, S sounds, not muscle. Okay, thank you. Next student, please. Đoàn Hồng Nam.
Hello, teacher.
Okay, so Đoàn Hồng Nam, can you continue reading the second paragraph of this passage for me?
Okay.
When your lungs expand, the pressure inside them decreases to below the pressure of outside air. Air naturally flows from high pressure areas to low pressure areas. So this causes the lungs to fill with air. The person has inspired or impaired. So the lungs expand before air enters them, not because they fill with air.
Thank you. Next one, Hoàng Ngọc Anh.
Hello, teacher.
Hello, happy International Women's Day.
Thank you.
Next, let's go. When air goes out, can you continue reading?
Yeah.
Yes, can you continue reading? When air goes out of the lungs?
Yes. When it go out the lungs. I read that paragraph.
Yes.
Yeah. When it go out of the lungs and out of the body, this is called expiration. Another word for expiration is
sorry, can you say again? Expiration.
expiration.
Yes.
Is
yes. Another word for expiration is exhalation.
exhalation. When a person
expires.
expires.
Excels.
Excels.
Excels. Good. The.
Thank you. And can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Continue. So intercostal muscles relax. Okay. This causes the rib. Continue.
To go down and this car the thoracic cavity becomes smaller, so do the lungs. The pressure inside the lungs increase and the difference in pressure between the lungs and outside is forced air out of the lungs.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Okay, so after skimming the whole passage, okay, I will show you the questions. Okay, so you can take a picture of this passage. Okay, and because when I show you the questions, you identify the keywords in the questions and you try to find answers for me. Okay, so these are the questions you have to answer. I have 5 questions for you. So I think I will give you about, let's say, like 5 minutes, okay? But first, please take a picture of these 5 questions because I'm going back to the previous PowerPoint slide for you to reread the passage and find the answers for me. So the first one, breathing is controlled by the, okay? So take a picture, 3 options. Number 2, during inspiration, the diaphragm and the contracts. Number 3, during inspiration, which happens first? Number 4, when you expire, the rib cage. And number 5, in which part of breathing do muscles relax? Right, okay, so for each questions there will be 2 or 3 options for you to choose. And remember, after skimming, after finishing the first step, we move on to the second step. In the second step, we read the questions and we try to identify keywords. Keywords are very important words which carry the main meaning of the sentence, right? Keywords are usually nouns, verbs, adjectives, right? What else? Time, years, personal places. For example, number 1, breathing is controlled by. Breathing should be the keywords. Controls, right? Keyword. Control is very important. Number 2, keyword should be inspiration, diaphragm. Diaphragm is very important here. And number 3, the keyword should be inspiration and first. First, okay. The words which indicates the transition from one stage to another. Number 4, keyword should be expire and rib cage. Rib cage is important. Then number 5, keywords is breathing, muscles relax, right? Now, I get back to the PowerPoint slide, the previous PowerPoint slide, and let you reread the whole passage. Now, can you find the answers for me? Okay, now we move on to step 3. After reading the questions and identifying some keywords in the questions, now we skim, no, I'm sorry, we not skim, we scan. In step number 3, we scan, read the text, and while scanning the text, you read very carefully, slowly and carefully each paragraph to find the keywords for me. Okay, if you can't find the keywords, you can find the synonyms or paraphrases, okay, words or phrase which share the same meaning with your underlying keywords in the questions. When you have found the keywords or the synonyms of your keywords, you read around carefully to find the answer for me. Okay, now 5 minutes for you to reread this passage of reading and find the answers for me. Okay, so now it's when I call your name, please give me your answers. Đoàn Thị Mỹ Nhật, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, teacher.
Okay, hello, happy International Women's Day.
Yeah,
Okay,
teacher.
so number 1, can you answer question number 1 for me? Breathing is controlled by the A, diaphragm, B, brain, or C, intercostal muscles.
Teacher, breathing is controlled by the brain.
The brain, where can you find the answers? Can you read the sentence? You can find the answer for the whole class.
Is paragraph 1 in line 2, inspiration is controlled by the brain.
Yes, paragraph 1, line number 2, inspiration is controlled by the brain. Very good. That's how you show the answers. Okay, thank you, girl.
Yeah, thank you, teacher.
Okay, so you still remember how to show the answers for the whole class. To follow, you have to say in which paragraph, which line, right? That's the technique of showing the answers. For example, paragraph 1, 2, 3, line number 1, 2, 3, 4, right? That's how, okay, you help someone, okay, follow you, that your friends can follow you. Show them the paragraph show them the line. Thank you. Next one. Yoon Hun Mi, please. Number 2.
Yes, I'm here.
Hope you have a good day, okay? Now, number 2. During inspiration, the diaphragm and the contracts. A. Intercostal muscles. B. Rib cage. C. Lungs.
A. Intercostal muscle.
Yeah, we say muscle, not muscle, muscles.
Muscle.
Yes. Can you show me where? You find the answer. Which paragraph, which line?
At the same time, the diaphragm is stimulated or the nerve impulse also stimulate the intercostal muscle.
To contract, right? So the answer can be found in paragraph 1, line number 3. No, line number 4, right? At the same time, the diaphragm is stimulated. Other nerve impulses also stimulate the intercostal muscles, the muscles between ribs, to contract, and the rib cage goes up and out. Thank you, Gary. Good. So the right answer for number 2 is intercostal muscles will contract together with the diaphragm. Thank you. Okay, next one. Hà Hoa Kiều Anh, are you there? She's not there. Hà Quốc Việt, are you there? Not there either. Hồ Thị My. Huỳnh Thị Diệu Vi. No. Lâm Lập Thành.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so Lập Thành, can you answer the next question for me? Question number 3. During inspiration, which happens first? A. The chest cavity enlarges. B. Air comes in. Or C. The chest cavity gets smaller.
C, teacher.
C. The chest cavity gets smaller. Are you sure? Show me the evidence where in the reading you can find the answer.
I guess it.
You guess? No. Yeah. When you read, you don't guess. You have to read and find the answer. You don't guess. During inspiration, which happens first? So the keyword is inspiration and first, right? So now, Pam, can you help me to read? Okay, both of these muscles. Line number 6, paragraph 1. See it?
Yes.
Can you read that sentence for me? Both of these muscles.
Both of the muscle contractions cause the thoracic cavity to expand.
Because
the lungs are attracted to the wall of the thoracic cavity and move with it. The lungs also expand.
Continue. When your lung expands.
When your lungs expand, the pressure inside them decrease to below the pressure of outside air. Air natural flows from the high pressure areas to low pressure area. So this causes the lungs to fill with air.
Okay, so the next sentence is the important sentence. Let's go. The person has
implies inhale,
inspire, or inhale, yes.
So the lungs expand before air enter them, not because they fill with air.
Okay, so let me read the sentence again and you give me your answers. The person has inspired. Inspire is the verb from inspiration, right? The person has inspired or inhaled. So the lungs expand before air enters them, not because they fill with air, right? So what happened first? A, the chest cavity enlarges. B, air comes in. Or C, the chest cavity gets smaller.
A.
Yeah, the chest cavity enlarges. Enlarges mean the chest cavity gets bigger first to let the air in, right? Okay. So the right answer is A. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank.
Lê Dạ Minh Châu, are you there? You're not there. Some of you may be shy when I ask you, okay, call your name. You don't unmute yourself, don't answer my questions. I know you are shy. Lê Ngọc Thảo Vi, Lê Tuấn Thành, Lê Thị Quỳnh Anh.
Yes.
Hello Quỳnh Anh.
Hello, teacher.
Happy International Women's Day.
Thank you.
Okay, now can you answer the next question? Number 5. When you expire, the rib cage, A, goes up and out, or B, goes up and in, or C, goes down and in.
C goes down and in.
Yes, C is the right answers, but please show me where in the passage we can find the answers.
The paragraph 3.
Paragraph 3, line.
This caused by the rib cage to go down and in.
Line number 3, paragraph 3, right? When a person
Yes.
expires, exhales, right? The diaphragm and intercostal muscles relax. This causes the rib cage to go down and in. Very good. Thank you, Ver. Have a good day. Okay, so the next question for question number 5, right? Lê Thị Trang. Lê Thị Trang, are you there? No. Lợi Thiên Tứ. Not there either. Luân Ngọc Lâm.
I'm here.
Okay, so can you answer the next question for me? In which part of breathing do muscles relax? A, during inspiration, or B, during expiration?
I choose B.
During expiration, yes. Can you show me where you can find the answers?
Yes. In the paragraph 3, that is the line 3.
Okay, read.
Another word for expirations is exhalations. When a person
Expires. When a person
expires, the diaphragm and
exhales.
intercostal muscle relax.
Yes, the keyword relax can be found in line number 3. Very good. Thank you. So we have 6B. During expiration, breathing, okay, the muscles will relax. Thank you. Okay, so now we continue to have the next 4 questions. Okay, so here you have to reread the passage one more time and find the correct word or the correct phrase to complete these sentences for me. For example, number 1, the 2 terms for breathing in are, okay? So terms, keyword terms, breathing. Number 2, the 2 terms for breathing out are keyword terms, breathing out. Number 3, the 5 words is the muscle that separates the thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity, right? And number 4, the muscles are located between your, I can see this one, between your ribs, okay? So you have to find, as again, you find the words or phrases to complete these sentences, okay? So take a picture of this slide before I go back to the slide, which includes the reading passage for you to reread and find the answer for me. Okay, now I get back to this one. 3 minutes for you to find the answers for me. Okay, so now can you show me your answers? Get back to this one. You show me the answers, okay? Okay, so let's you see. Take a look at this slide. The reading passage. You find the answer for me. Lương Thị Ngọc Hân.
Hello, teacher.
Oh, happy International Women's Day.
Thank you.
Okay, so can you tell me the first one? So the 2 terms for breathing in are breathing in. 2 terms.
Experience and inhalation.
We say inspiration. Can you say again? Inspiration.
Inspiration.
And inhalation.
Inhalation.
Yeah. Where can you find the answers? Can you show the class?
Is paragraph 3.
Can you read the sentence?
Excuse me.
Can you read the sentence? You read the sentence for the whole class.
The 2 terms for breathing are inspiration and inhalation.
Okay, so you can find the answer in the first sentence of the first paragraph, right? When air is taken into the lungs, it is called inspiration. Another word for inspiration is inhalation. Thank you, girl. Okay, next question, number 2. The two terms for breathing out are. What are the two terms for breathing out? Can you wait? I'm looking at the student list. Okay. Lương Thị Ngọc Minh. Tell me the two terms for breathing
Hi,
out.
teacher.
Hello, happy National Women's Day.
Thank you.
Now, the two terms.
The two terms for breathing out are expiration and exhalation.
How can you know that?
The third paragraph, they say when air goes out of the lungs and out of the body, this is called expiration. Another word for expiration is exhalation.
Yes, excellent answer. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay, so I say again, the two terms for breathing out are expiration and exhalation. Okay. Now, number 3. What is the name of the muscle, okay, which separates the thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity? Ngô Quốc Phú. Ngô Quốc Phú, are you there? No. Nguyễn Đình Duy Anh. Nguyễn Đình Minh Khoa. Please don't be shy to mute yourself.
Yeah.
Hello Khoa, you are Nguyễn Đình Minh Khoa, right?
Right.
Yes, okay. Now, number 3, can you answer number 3? So what is the name of the muscle which separates thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity?
The diaphragm.
Diaphragm. Where can you find the answer? Can you read the sentence to the whole class?
The brain sends nerve impulse that stimulate the diaphragm, the lung muscle that separate the abdominal cavity from the
Thoracic
cavity to contract.
Very good, thank you. Okay, so the right answer is found in line number 3, paragraph number 1, right? The brain sends nerve impulses that stimulates the diaphragm, the large muscle that separates the abdominal cavity from the thoracic or chest cavity to contract. Okay, so as you can see, that's when you read, okay, if you see the medical term or a technical term, don't worry, because like definition of a technical term will also be given. So, as you can see here, diaphragm, if you don't know what diaphragm means, don't panic, because after the comma, you see diaphragm, after the comma, definition is given. Okay, the large muscle that separates the abdominal cavity from the thoracic chest cavity. It's another reading skill. Okay, when you guess, you can guess the new words, because new words there are many new words, okay, in the reading, and you don't know the meaning, that's why you have to guess. And when new words are given, actually the definitions are given too. When you approach or when you encounter a technical term like diaphragm, you see, you can find the definition of that new words after comma, okay, or inside the brackets, or they can even give you the definitions in the glossary, okay, parts. Okay, so we continue with the next questions. The muscles are located between your ribs So what is the name of the muscles which are located between your ribs? Nguyễn Đinh Thuận Kiều, Nguyên Đinh Thuận Kiều á, Nguyễn Đinh Thuận Kiều.
Hello, teacher.
Hello, happy International Women's Day.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, okay. Okay, so you say if you are a female student, you unmute, okay, yourself, you communicate with me, okay, I can wish you, okay, a happy day, right? So you can get like a good wish from your teacher. Okay, so number 4. What muscles are located between your ribs? Can you tell me the name of that muscle?
Yeah, number 4, I think the intercostal muscle are
That's good.
located between your ribs.
Yes, but where can you find?
Yes, I find it in the first paragraph and the intercostal muscle, the muscle between the ribs.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the first paragraph, line number 5, right?
Yes. Yes.
Good. Other nerve pulses also simulates the intercostal muscles. And you see inside the brackets, the definition of this muscle is given. The muscles between the ribs. Okay, thank you, girl.
Yes.
Okay, so I say again, this is a very the next important reading skill that you have to know. Guessing new words from the context. Okay, so when you read, you can see that there are many new words in the reading. You don't understand all, but don't worry. Okay, so when you see a new words, actually the definition of that new word is given. Just like you see diaphragm, you can find the definition after the comma. They give you the new term, new words, comma, definition, right? And in this case, intercostal muscles, okay, they give you the definition inside of brackets, okay, the muscle between the ribs. So you understand what what intercostal muscles are, right? So definitions can be given after comma or inside the brackets, okay, or it can even be given after the hyphen, the hyphen, okay. So this is a very important skill that you have to know, okay? When you encounter new terms, don't worry. Keep reading, okay? The next sentence will give you the definition of that new term. Okay, now number 5. No, we have only 4 questions first. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we continue with the next paragraph. This is just a short paragraph, okay? Regulation of reading. And we have 2 questions for this paragraph. Okay, so can you help me find the answers to these 2 questions? I will give you around 3 minutes, okay, only because it's easy. Skim first and then scan for the answers for me in 3 minutes. Have you found the answer? Now I call your name and give me your answers. Nguyễn Duy Đức Hiếu, Nguyễn Duy Lý Đức Hiếu. Are you there? Can you unmute yourself? No. Nguyễn Hoàng Nam.
Yes, teacher.
Your voice is echoing. Your voice is echoing. What's wrong with your microphone?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so answer question number 3 for me. The amount of air that enters the lungs is controlled by the
B. Bronchioles.
Bronchioles. Say bronchioles.
Bronchial.
Where can you find the answers?
In the line one, the amount of air that enter your lung is controlled by smooth muscle in the wall of the bronchial.
Yes, in the walls of the bronchioles. Good. So the right answers for the first sentence. Okay, the first question is B. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so the next question, please. Next one, Nguyễn Hữu Phát.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so can you answer the next question? The amount of air that enters your lung. No, this is no, it's just like the same questions.
Yeah.
Your
My question is
yes. Your question is the amount of air that enters your lungs is controlled by
smooth muscle.
Smooth muscle in the walls of
the bronchioles.
The bronchioles. Yes, thank you. I say again, the amount of air that enters your lungs is controlled by. Next one, you write smooth muscle. Okay, in the walls of the bronchioles. Okay, so next one we are going to talk about the gas exchange, diffusion, right? Alveoli and pulmonary capillaries, right? So, you know, like capillaries, okay, will cover alveoli. Each alveolus, okay, is surrounded by many pulmonary capillaries, and pulmonary capillaries will carry the oxygenated blood, right? Okay, so alveoli also contain elastin fibers. These fibers can stretch and return to normal size. Alveoli and capillaries have thin walls, okay, and these thin walls, okay, you know, like contain oxygen and carbon dioxide. So oxygen, okay, and carbon dioxide will easily travel through these thin walls. So when the gas exchange procedure happens, oxygen will go through this wall, these thin walls, okay, and oxygen will be attached to hemoglobins inside your blood, okay, and turn the oxygenated blood into oxygenated blood, and blood will return to the heart before it is pumped to every organ of your body, right? And then where does carbon dioxide go? Carbon dioxide is, you know, like exhaled out of your body, right? So carbon dioxide will, you know, like go through the thin wall, okay, and they will go through the thin wall, backward to bronchioles, backward to tertiary bronchiole, and then secondary bronchiole, primary bronchiole before the CO2 is traveling back to the trachea, okay, and it is exhaled from outside of your body, okay. So backwards to trachea, larynx, okay, and through your nose. So CO2 will be exhaled out of your body through your nose. We breathe in oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide, right? So carbon dioxide, okay, alveoli expire out of lungs, and I have just told you. Okay, so this is where oxygen goes. Oxygen, okay, will reach alveoli, and then, okay, oxygen will go through capillaries, go through the walls, the thin walls of alveoli, and reach capillaries. And inside capillaries, the red blood cell will be attached to hemoglobins, right? Okay, and your blood will be turned into oxygenated blood, and it will return to the heart. The heart gets ready to pump, okay, the oxygenated blood to the whole organs, to all the organs of your body. Okay, and remember that our oxygenated blood will return to your heart through pulmonary vein, right? I have this picture for you to take a look. Okay, right, CO2 out, oxygen in, carbon dioxide out, oxygen in, and the oxygenated blood will become oxygenated blood, and they will be carried, okay, they will be carried through the pulmonary veins, and they get back to the heart. Okay, so now you're going to read a text about gas exchange, okay? And this text will help you understand the gas exchange procedure better, okay? As usual, I will give you 3 minutes, okay, to skim read the text before I show you the questions, okay? Skim read the text first, because in the second part of our lesson, we just continue practice reading. Have you finished skimming the text? Okay, because when you skim, you just read quickly the first and the last sentences of each paragraph. Now let me show you the questions. Can you just wait? I will show you the questions. We will stop sharing screen first. Okay, so before I show you the next part of the reading text, please just wait. I'm finding the text. Show you. Okay, so I have found this one. Okay, the PDF file, the text for you to read, and you have just skimmed the gas exchange text, right? Now let's keep skimming this text for me. Gas exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide. Okay, skim it in the next 3 minutes. The second part of the reading. Okay, so let me just show you the questions. Here are the questions that you need to find the answers to. Comprehension check questions. So can you answer the questions below? Okay, so the first one, in what structure does gas exchange take place? Okay, so where does gas exchange take place? So let me get back to this passage of reading so that you can find the answers. Okay, where does gas exchange take place? Can I ask one student? Nguyễn Minh Khôi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so can you answer the first question for me? So in what structure does gas exchange take place? Where does gas exchange take place?
The gas exchange takes place between the alveoli and the pulmonary capillary in the lung.
Very good, but can you please show the class which paragraph?
It's
You
in
can
the
find answers.
paragraph 1 in the second 2.
Yes, okay. Paragraph number 1, line number 2, right? Okay. Gas exchange takes place between the alveoli and the pulmonary capillaries in the lungs. Thank you. Very good. Okay, so question number 2. When molecules are in the process of diffusion, what does that mean? In question number 2, our keyword is, let's take a look at question number 2 again. Our keyword in number 2 is molecules, process, diffusion. Diffusion is very important. So what does the process of diffusion mean? So let me show you the reading. Okay, so someone please tell me, what does diffusion, the process of diffusion mean? Nguyễn Ngọc Thiện. Not there. Nguyễn Quang Huy.
Dạ em chọn
Your name is Huy or Thiện?
dạ Huy.
Nguyễn Quang Huy, okay. So please can you answer the questions? So what does the process of diffusion mean?
Paragraph 1, the second line.
Okay, read.
Diffusion is the next movement of molecule from one area that has a higher concentration of this molecule toward an area where there is a lower concentration of this molecule.
Okay, so this is how diffusion works. Okay, molecules tend to travel, okay, from the area which has a higher concentration to the area where there is a lower concentration of these molecules. Okay, thank you. And the answer can be found in line number 2 of paragraph 1. Okay, thank you. Okay, class, so I will stop the lesson here. So we continue, okay, the lesson on Wednesday. Okay, so I stop share. Okay, it's time to say goodbye, class. You can unmute yourself and say goodbye. Okay, goodbye, class. See you.
Goodbye teacher.
Goodbye, teacher.
Goodbye, teacher.
Thank
you, teacher.
Bye, teacher.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
Happy Women's Day.
Yes, happy International Women's Day to all the female students.
Thank you.